Hey everybody, welcome to Meet Docubee. We are so excited to introduce you to our all-in-one contract platform today. Before we get started, I'm going to kick things off by getting you introduced to my team. So my name is Ariana Latour. I'm a product marketing manager here at Docubee. I'm going to be giving you an introduction to the Docubee product, and I'm going to be moderating the webinar today. I'm joined by Robert Alvarez, who is a sales engineer 2 on our team. Robert is a master Docubee workflow builder, and he's going to be giving us a tour of the platform today. Robert's also going to be answering your questions at the end of the webinar in our live Q&A session, but don't feel like you need to wait until the end. You can send questions in while we go through the webinar by entering them in the question section on the GoToWebinar panel. And so with all of that out of the way, let's talk about Docubee. Docubee is an all-in-one intelligent contract automation platform that helps you fly through contracts by streamlining your processes from start to finish. And we do that through 6 main contract stages that are on the screen here: gather, generate, share, collaborate, sign, and integrate. And I'll touch on each of these a little bit. So in the gather stage, you can collect information to incorporate into contracts and agreements. You can have clients submit information and documents from easy to use forms, or you can pull information from systems or databases that you use. In our generate stage, you can create contracts through pre-built templates of the contracts that you use the most. You can create them on the fly with AI, or you can create and edit your own in our document editor. When it's time to share, you can seamlessly route contracts and agreements for review, completion, and approval, either as needed or based on a set of rules and conditions. Our newest collaboration stage makes it easy to work with internal and external participants to edit and redline your contracts in real time. That means no more having to download and email different versions of your contracts back and forth. In the signing stage, you can collect legally binding e-signatures from participants on any device, complete with signing certificates that include IP addresses, geolocation, and even more security features if you need them. And finally, integrate allows you to connect to the systems that you use daily to store your contracts and documents, or you can incorporate our contract automation features into your existing applications via our APIs. That was a lot, and seeing is believing. So I'm going to hand things over to Robert to give you a tour of all of these features in the Docubee platform.
Thanks, Ariana. Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Robert Alvarez. I'm a sales engineer with the Docubee team, and I have the pleasure to show you around Docubee. So I'm going to go ahead and jump out of the presentation and jump over to our dashboard here. And we'll start off, I want to give a little disclaimer here. This will be like a high-level overview. We're going to try to jump through the majority of the platform at a high level and maybe dive in a couple of areas. So the primary focus is staying high level and kind of sharing across the platform what Docubee is capable of. And I want to highly encourage you guys, if you're on here for the first time seeing Docubee, is to schedule a customized demo, because we can really hone in on what your needs are, what your requirements are, and show you exactly how Docubee can meet those needs and solve your needs. And that'll be way more helpful on a specific use case basis, because Docubee is a platform that applies to really any industry and any department within industry, as you'll see as we go through these features here. And so with that said, I'm showing you here the Docubee dashboard. I'm logged into the Docubee platform, and I'm logged in as the organization owner. And so with the Docubee platform, you get an organization, and you have the ability to bring on your staff and other users and give them permissions, and you can divide them up into what we call workspaces. And so this middle area here, this window here shows you an example of, you can have multiple workspaces where you can divide up your users, but also the documents that they send and interact with, the data they interact with, the workflows they interact with. All of those things can be divided up so that you can you can securely protect that data, and only the people that you allow access to can view that information. And so that's sort of like a high level of user permissions. There's also organizational settings that you can do here. So I'm going to click over here to our settings panel, kind of walk you through. You obviously can identify the name of the organization, but you'll see, we'll kind of jump in and you'll see email notifications that our platform triggers. You can actually have those email notifications route through your outgoing email server, meaning all the notifications actually come from your domain. So you can rest assured about security and spam folders. You don't have to worry about those things. The other thing that's important here in the settings area is we give you the ability to, in some of our account levels, you have the ability to do branding. And so whether it's site branding or email branding, wherever you see the Docubee logo, we give you the ability to replace that with your own logo. So these are just a couple of the features here. We can jump into a little bit more, but I want to kind of jump back over and start highlighting the major functionality of Docubee. And so across our platform, you have a few different ways where you can handle documents and contracts and be able to send those contracts for signing and redlining, editing, and you can kind of go from a more basic level to more complex based on what your requirements are. And so if we're looking at the most basic requirements, meaning you just want to be able to send a simple document, get it signed, that would be utilizing our quick sign feature. And so we're going to start from quick sign and we'll jump into the more complex features that we offer. And so one of them here is quick sign, and it's accessible straight from the dashboard. And so I can walk you through. The great thing about our quick sign feature is it's like a wizard. It walks you through step by step what you need to do. So there's nothing really complex that you have to learn. You can really from day one sign up for Docubee and start sending documents for signing. And so the first step here in quick sign is being able to identify a document. And so we can pull from our library here, so you can set up templates, which we'll go through the interface here of showing you how to build the document template. But you can, if you've saved a template, you can easily reference that here, or you can pull it from Google Drive or Box, or even have our AI engine write that up for you and generate a document for you. In this demonstration, I'm just going to pull up a document and we'll go through and pull up here. I'm just going to use this NDA, a simple little document. We can navigate through this process here. And so we've identified the document. Now we want to identify the people involved. And so we can plug in an example person that we want to have go through the signing process. You can identify some additional security settings. So I clicked that little cogwheel for additional settings here. We can identify some security features here if we want to customize the email. So the email subject and body, fully customizable. We can also add additional signers if we wanted to. So if I close this here, we can see additional signers, and you can kind of see we've tried to add in a ton of features here, but make it very simple as you go through this process so that there's not a lot of training that's needed. Some additional things you can do is like add a recipient. So somebody maybe after everything is signed needs to be notified and receive that document. So that's something you can have automatically set up. For this process, I'm just going to keep one signer, just to keep it simple so we can run through the demonstration quickly and cover some other features. And so with that, I'm going to continue. And sort of the last stage here is preparing that document. So this is our interface. This will be very familiar to anyone who's been into our product before, because in many different places, wherever we're generating that document and we want to put fields to be filled out and signed, this is sort of the same interface across the platform. And so across the top here, I just grabbed a signature. I just clicked there and dropped it onto the document. We can identify who's going to sign it. So we only have one role on this document, so it's going to be this person here. If I want to add additional fields, we have like initials, date fields. We can grab a date here. We make that read only, and so we'll stamp. This is basically stamping a date stamp onto the document, and they can't edit that. So it's another feature there. We have text boxes, so you can drop a text box here. And what you'll notice is as I drop these fields on the document, the right-hand panel kind of gives you configuration options. And so with this name field, maybe we want to make this optional. So it gives you that control over making sure that the signer or the person filling out this document fills out all the required fields that you need so that you don't have to go back and forth with them on that information. Okay, and so next I'm just going to send this so we can see our signing ceremony. Again, we've got a ton of features here. You can name the process, you can set it to expire as needed, and then also it's going to ask me if we want to save this as a template. So the beauty about this is that you can save this as a template to use in the future if you need to. So I'm gonna go ahead and no thanks. And what that's gonna do is trigger that email off. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit refresh here. And so we can see that email come out. Our email notifications, very powerful. A lot you can do here. I've already kind of talked about branding that you can do under settings. I've also talked about, the from email address. By default, it comes from Docubee, but if you do those settings we talked about before, you can have the emails routed through your email server, and so that the recipients don't have to be concerned about, who is Docubee or who is this other platform. It's coming from you. They see it's your logo. They see it's your information, and they can not have to worry about those things. And sort of to add to this, whenever we're talking about people that are outside your organization, meaning they're like the signers, they're filling out this information, they do not need to create an account to sign a document. They don't need to download an app. If they're on really any device with a web browser, they can receive these emails, notifications with the links, and they can click the link and they'll be taken straight to the document for completion. And so this here is our document viewer. This is for our signing ceremony. So you watched me drop these fields onto the document. And so this document is protected, so they can't make changes to it. And they basically have the options to fill out the fields that you've asked them to fill out. So they have no other control of the document. And what's great about this is that we also have this panel to the right here that gives them what they need to complete. And so if they try to hit complete, submit the document, it's going to stop them. So it gives you that control. Again, you can make fields required or optional to control when and what fields they need to fill out. And so in addition to this here, so this is not just a list, it's also a navigation panel. So if I click on this field here, it's going to navigate the whole screen to that field. And so this is really great for those contracts that are 17, 18, longer pages of documents. They can easily navigate between the fields as needed. And so I can just type in something here, and then I can go ahead and sign the document. And so I'm going to click here to sign it. It's saved my signature because I've signed with the tool before. And that's also great because if you have documents that have 5, 6 different signature spots, once they draw their signature for the first time, which we'll see in a second, they can just click through and easily sign the rest of the document. So it makes it easier for them to complete those longer documents. But for anyone new for signing documents for the first time on our tool, they'll receive this screen here. And this works on all devices. So touch screens, iPads, phones, they can tap with their finger. They can also draw with their finger. I'm using a mouse, so I'm drawing with the mouse. And so that kind of gives you a simple, easier way to sign documents. You can use it from any device. So once that's completed, it allows me to submit that, and then we can jump back over to behind the scenes. And what I'm going to do is view those documents that have been sent. And so with QuickSign here, we also get a dashboard. And so those dashboards, this dashboard here allows you to jump in and see the details. You can preview the document. You can also download the document. So you got control of the document also within the process. And so we can look down here from a previous process. We can see it's awaiting a signature. So if I were to come into this before of the process we did before, I could actually come in here. Maybe I misspelled the email address. We can reassign it. We can resend the email. So it gives you that control there. And that's sort of a quick run through of our QuickSign. Our QuickSign is used in multiple areas of our tool, and that's what kind of we want to jump into now. And so I've kind of jumped over to this documents area. Our documents area has a few other features here. One is our library, and so our library is connected to both QuickSign. This is where your templates would be stored. You can upload documents and you can manage them. You can set up templates. You can bulk send for QuickSign. You can also edit it. You can stamp it and do different things. And so that kind of gives you a repository for like your standard contracts, and you can make changes to them and get them prepared to use in the future on a regular basis. And that library is also tied into our contracts module, which is one of our newest features. Our contract module, I'm going to click onto it, allows you to take a contract or agreement or MSAs, NDAs, any type of agreement that you want to take from a draft all the way through, internal and external collaboration and negotiating, all the way through to signing. What we've done is brought in a ton of our features from our workflow engine, and it's sort of an out of the box. And so from day one, you can sign up and you can start running your contracts through an entire contract lifecycle through our module here. And so I'll kind of run through and highlight some of those major features here. One of the things here is you can start out from a draft. And so let me just go ahead and create a new one, create a contract here. And this gives you the ability, let's go ahead and name it. So like maybe we can say vendor contract for test company. Name. We can start from a blank document. So we'll jump into our editor here in the first step, and our editor can you can create documents from scratch, or you can pull it in from, say, your document library. So I can click here, and so you can store all your standard, maybe your standard agreements or different categories of agreements within your document library, and you can easily pull them in and make them unique for a specific vendor or a partner, etc. Or you can upload a document. We do require in this step here docx files, because we're actually going to be editing these documents. And so let me just grab this template. We can select this and we can create it. So we can create this first contract, and it'll start off in draft mode. And what we've done is included our word processor. So this is our word processor where you can fully edit this document. And so I can come in here and I can delete stuff. I can, make stuff bold, fancy, do all kinds of changes to it before I include anyone else in the process. And so this is, I'm acting right now as the owner of this document. And so I've started this document and I've made some changes, and now I want to move it along the process. And so say we want to collaborate with some internal stakeholders. And so I can hit start and say I want to, add somebody internally. So I have Mallory here as a person on my team that I can include, and we can collaborate and go back and forth and make changes on this document. I'm actually going to skip this step and go straight to negotiating, to the negotiate stage, because these stages are pretty much identical. The only difference is with negotiate, we can actually allow external stakeholders. And so if I add, say, for example, here, external person, we can see this in action, and we can see the live collaboration, how we can go back and forth on this. And so if I hit save here, that will then trigger a notification to that person. And so that person will get an email. You have a contract negotiating. Obviously, like your branding would show up once you edit that. I'm actually going to open this up in an incognito window, and we're going to actually see them side by side. So I can open this on this side. So I know I kind of moved a bunch of screens around. So on the left here, we have, we'll call this the document owner, and they have full control over this document. Whereas the person on the right is the external party, and they have suggestion rights, meaning whatever they try to edit. So say I try to delete this paragraph, boom, it's going to act as if it deleted it, but it's going to mark it as a suggestion here. And as the document owner, I can come over here and I can accept or reject that. I can also, maybe add, I can highlight, maybe add a comment, and we can, do we want this as an example? And those comments will go back and forth in real time. So you can see how you guys can really use this for any type of contract management, redlining, going back and forth. You can have multiple parties involved. And as the owner of the contract, you have full control on who can make changes and what they can do. From here, I can accept and reject, and I can move this on to the next stage, which is approval, and then move it on to signing. And signing is tied into our quick sign, which we kind of walked through already, and we kind of saw those features, and so it's all tied in to this same process. Some additional things that we've recently added, which is great about our team. Our team really, we like to be customer centric, and we like to hear what the market is asking for. And so as we're building these things, we're not just like building a tool that we love and we think is great, and we're going to give it to you and sell it to you, and you're going to go off and use it. What we want to do is actually flip the script on this and actually build out a tool for the marketplace. And so we're really listening close to what customers out there are asking for in features. And some of the things that they're asking for are understanding versioning of these documents. And so we've added more recently versioning, so you can see and go back and forth on, what does the document look like, a few minutes before, after, so and so changed it, or after a certain stage, and you can go back and forth and you can see the changes that were made in the contract there. In addition to that, we also have added the control of meta tags and data behind these documents. And so, like, for example, I can make this, what type of contract is this? This is a vendor contract, and we can plug in this information, and we can collect it and store it so that everyone who's involved can jump in here and understand where it's coming from. In addition to that, we can also plug in some tags here for our search functionality. And so this will make sense once I flip out of here. So I'm gonna go ahead and save that. I'm gonna jump back out, and we'll wrap up here with this contract module with our dashboard here. And so this dashboard keeps track of, it's like a bird's eye view of all the contracts in their spot. You can filter out by the stages. So if I go and see, okay, there's no contracts in the draft stage, but there are a couple in negotiating stage. I can also filter out by, tags. So you saw me create a tag, so I can click that vendor. So I want to find out, where are all the ones that are tagged as vendor. And so we got a couple here that are tagged as vendor. Maybe I want just this one here that's tied to that corporation. And so we can kind of filter that out. So we've added a lot of these features, and we're continuing to expand upon these. And so we'd love to hear feedback and on these things, and we just want to make a product that's great for your use, and it's easy to use. What we've covered so far is QuickSign, and we've moved into contracts. So we're kind of moving up in complexity of how to handle and manage your contracts. And you might be asking yourself, as I've kind of shown this, well, what about this? Or what about this feature? Or what do you guys have this? And a lot of those questions or maybe extra additional features that you're looking for actually can be answered with our workflow engine. And so if you haven't seen anything with our contract module here, or if you haven't seen something specific that you need or require for your use case, it can most likely be answered with our workflow engine. Because what we've actually done is taken our workflow elements, our tasks in our workflow, and built out this contract module from it. And so you can actually build out a custom process with our workflow. And so we won't have time to go into full details of our workflow engine, which is, again, why I recommend getting a customized demo so that we can hone in on specifically how Docubee can answer your needs and specific requirements. Because with our workflow engine, we can get into so much more granular detail and conditional logic. And I'm just going to touch base on, say, for example, we'll jump in and take a look at the back end here, just a quick little brief look at it. And so this is an example workflow. And real quick, what we mean by workflow, we mean a sequential sequence of tasks that need to be accomplished and completed either by one party or multiple parties. And so what we're looking at here is the actual flow of the workflow. And each of these bubbles represents a task. And you can take, the idea here is you can take entire process or even processes and digitize them and automate them inside Docubee. And so what Ariana, sort of the pathway that Ariana walked through at the beginning of this webinar, she walked through gathering information, connecting that information to the right people, approval process, connecting to other systems. This is where you can get really detailed and automate those processes with our workflow engine. And for example, you can collect data using a web form task, and then you can store data behind the scenes with our create properties, and you can send out email notifications with that specific data. And so any data we collect or pass into the workflow we can use all throughout the workflow by generating documents and routing that information to other parties, and then actually using that data as conditional logic. So if you have processes where you want to automate, vendor contract generation, and it's determined by maybe the contract type, the value of the contract, we can collect these pieces of information, and then the workflow can automatically route and control the flow of that process. And so again, this is just tipping, the tip of the iceberg of what's capable with Docubee. But I did want to kind of tease you and give you some information there. The last little bit to mention here is that we're built on an open API architecture. And so what that means is we have the ability to receive data and documents into our platform via API call from other systems. So the idea is connecting other systems to Docubee. We have that capability. So we can receive data and documents. We can also pass data and documents out. And so we can act as standing alongside your other platforms that you have, and love to discuss that with you. And I think I want to wrap up here and turn it back over to Ariana. I hope you guys have some questions because we got a Q&A here that we want to jump into. And let me just jump back over here.
Perfect. Thank you, Robert. We covered a lot in a very short period of time. So if you guys have any questions that you'd like us to address on the webinar, go ahead and enter them in the questions tab in the GoToWebinar panel. I do have some that came in while we were going through the presentation. So the first one I want to start with is how many collaborators or signers can I have on a contract?
Great. So our platform right now allows up to 6 live collaborators at each stage there. And so same thing with QuickSign, you can have up to 6 different parties involved in the signing process. And that's just with those specific functions. With workflow, you can add additional parties as needed.
Okay, thank you. We have a question, let me expand it, actually take a little bit longer. Does Docubee offer any training or change management to help manage the transition implementing to the system?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I sort of mentioned in my demo that we are very customer centric. And with that, our customer support is like no other company. I mean, from the very beginning, when you're onboarded, you're started off with a welcome call, which we walk through configuring your platform. We understand your needs and like what you asked for, like a transition in implementing from, because obviously a lot of people are coming from other platforms, they've been using it for years. We have that connection point where we have actually a customer success staff that you'll be appointed a customer success rep, and they will walk you through configuring your account, helping you with that transition, answering questions. And we actually also have building capabilities, so we can actually build workflows for you. And so we have that full spectrum of support. We can come in alongside you. We can also do a lot of things for you. So we have a lot of those options available, and we can kind of discuss what your specific needs are and engage and set up a license that works best for you.
Thank you. Yeah, we have, I also just wanted to touch on, we have a professional services team. And so a lot of people will work with that team either to, as Robert had just said, like working on implementing and building custom workflows. You can also do training. If you wanted to do training for your team on building or on using the platform, that's something that team also handles. And we have a really good team. They're all really, really great people, and we really care about helping everybody succeed. So definitely no shortage of help with transitioning. Let's do another question. Does someone I send a contract to negotiate or sign need to create an account?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's asked often, so I was expecting this one. The great thing about Docubee is it's web-based, and so we don't require any type of account creation or actually downloading an app onto your device. So there's really no barriers to entry. Now we do offer security permissions, so like you can set passwords and things of that nature to protect data and documents. But as far as ease of use and extra hoops that people have to jump through, the answer is no. We make it very simple. You click on the link and you open up the document into our web-based document viewer.
Perfect, thanks. I think we have time for one more. Let me pick one out of here. Let's do, we had a question about pricing. What does pricing look like?
Yeah, so we have our standard user-based pricing based on features that you want to purchase, so you can review those online. As we look at larger accounts, so like as your organization needs specific needs and you want to customize that license, we can definitely work with you and customize and provide you something that is price based on your needs and not just a bunch of things that you're not even going to be using. So definitely get with one of our sales staff and hear more details on how we can customize the pricing for you. And I think that's it. It's the rest of the questions. So thank you for joining us. Ariana, are you still there? I think Ariana might be having some technical difficulties, but I think we're going to wrap up here. And I want to thank everyone for joining us, and definitely want to encourage you to schedule a customized demo so that we can get more detailed requirements on your use case, and you can actually see some more, a deeper dive into Docubee that's focused on your use case. And so, thanks again for joining us, and we're looking forward to working with you.